Section 27, the appropriate governments and the local authority shall by notification make schemes for conducting part-time classes in respect of children with disability who, having completed education up to class 5th and could not continue their studies on a whole time basis. Then conducting special part-time classes for providing functional literacy for children in age group of 16 and above. Imparting education by utilizing the available manpower in rural area after giving them appropriate orientation. Imparting non-formal education through open schools and open universities. Conducting class and discussions through interaction, electronic or other media. Providing every child with disability free of cost text, special books and equipment needed for his or her education. Section 28, the appropriate government shall initiate or cause to be initiated research by official and non-governmental agencies for the purpose of designing and developing new assistive device, teaching aids, special teaching materials or such other items are necessary to give a child with disability equal opportunity in education. Section 29, the appropriate government shall set up adequate number of teachers training institutions and assist the National Institute of other voluntary organization to develop teachers training program specializing in disability so that requisite training manpower is available for special schools and integrated schools for children with disabilities. Section 30, without prejudice to the foregoing provisions, the appropriate government shall by notification prepare a comprehensive education scheme which shall make provision for transport facility to children with disability or the alternative financial incentives to parents or guardians to enable their children with disability to attend the school. Then the removal of architectural barriers from school, colleges and other institutions imparting vocational and professional training. The supply of books, uniform and other material to children with disability attending the school. The grant of scholarship to student with disability. Setting up of appropriate mechanism for the redressal or grievances if parents regarding the placement of their children with disability. Then suitable modification in the examination system to eliminate purely mathematical question for the benefit of blind student and student with low vision. Restructuring of curriculum for the benefit of the children with disability. Then restructuring the curriculum for benefit of student with hearing impairment to facilitate them to take only one language as part of their curriculum. Section 31, all educational institutions shall provide or cause to be provided amenities to blind student and student with low vision. Before going into an analysis of these provisions, it needs to be clarified at the outset that the Act does not cover all the categories of disabled person. It specially covers only the persons who suffer from any of the following 7 disability and to extent or not less than 40%. Blindness, which is defined as a condition where a person suffers from any of the following conditions: total absence of sight or visual acuity not exceeding 6/60 or 20/200 in the better eye with connecting lens, or limitation of the field of vision subtending an angle of 20° or worse. Low vision, which is defined as a condition of impairment of visual functioning of a person even after treatment, but who uses or is capable of using vision for the planning of execution of a task with appropriate assistive device. Leprosy cured person, which is defined as condition when a person has been cured of leprosy but is suffering from loss of sensation in hands or feet as well as loss of sensation in paresis in the eye and eyelids with no manifest deformity or manifest deformity and paresis but having sufficient mobility in the hands and feet to enable him to engage in normal economic activity or extreme physical deformity as well as advanced age which prevent him from undertaking any gain occupation. Hearing impairment, which is defined as condition of loss of 60 decibels or more in the better ear in the conventional range or frequency. Lokomotiv disability, which is defined as a condition of disability of the bones, joints or muscles leading to substantial restriction of the movement of limbs and any other form of cerebral palsy. Mental retardation, which is defined as condition of arrested or incomplete development of the mind of a person which is especially characterized by subnormality of intelligence. Mental illness, which is defined as any mental disorder other than mental retardation. Ninth policy is the Equal Opportunity and Rights of Persons with Disability Act 1996. The Equal Opportunities and Rights of Person with Disability Act 1996 called for the education of children with disabilities up to the age of 18 years in an appropriate environment. The Act grants equal opportunity, protection of rights and full participation to people with disability. It includes a number of provisions that endeavor to promote the integration of students with disability into the normal school. It also upholds the role of special schools by asking schools in the government and private sector to promote their establishment. Although there is no specific mention of inclusive education in the Act, it is judged to break through legislation relating to education and economic rehabilitation of people with disabilities. The economic rehabilitation section under this Act stipulates that certain posts of various government departments and in the public sector are to be identified and a percentage, that is 3%, are to be reserved for the persons with disability. In 1999, the government passed the National Trust of Welfare of Person with Autism, Cerebral Palsy, Mental Retardation and Multiple Disability Act, especially for the rehabilitation of the people with disabilities. 10th policy is National Policy for Person with Disability in 2006 with reference to inclusive education. They focused on following points. First point is rehabilitation measures. Second, principal area of intervention, programs of rehabilitation, responsibility for implementation of policy. Now, we will see 5-year plan. 5-year plans have given recommendation for inclusion. First 5-year plan, this witnessed the launching of a small unit by Ministry of Education for the visual impaired in 1947. Subsequently, a training center for adults with visual impairments was established. Second 5-year plan, in that under the Ministry of Education, a National Advisory Council of Physically Challenged started functioning to advise the central government on issue concerning education, training and employment of the disabled. Third 5-year plan, attention was given to rural areas to facilitate the training and rehabilitation of the physically challenged. The government formulated policy around some services. In that, first point is planning employment exchange for the physically challenged, then teaching and provision of work facilities in the home itself or neighborhood for those who are not mobile. Provision of recreation facilities for the physically challenged, then at least 3% of job reservation and job facility made available for the physically challenged persons. Fourth 5-year plan, more emphasis was given to preventive work for people with visual, speech and hearing impairments. National centers of physically challenged were instituted to serve as demonstration projects in various of the country and provide necessary training facilities. Sixth 5-year plan, national policies were made around provision of community oriented disability prevention and rehabilitation services to promote self-reliance, economic independence and social integration of the differently able in the community and comprehensive primary health care.